All right, well, if you're watching this on the replay, this is just a simple 20-second lead-in because it takes a little bit of time for ads to play, some other riffraff, some BS, and all that good stuff. And, you know, we got comments from people in the past that they catch us mid-sentence. So with that, I just want to say it's 7 p.m. here in the Central Standard Time Zone. That means it's time for the CarrGuy and SIXFAN show. Tonight, I'm your host, Grant Tommy, straight SIXFAN, and this guy over this direction to me is...
I am Jason. I am the car guy of the CarrGuy and SIXFAN show. So we're running into all kinds of things here tonight, guys. We have technical difficulties. My dog sees a deer in our backyard. This is the first time since we moved here. That's pretty cool. So, but tonight we have a couple of guests, and despite the technical difficulties, we're going to try and make it happen. And below me, on my screen anyways, is Scott. And below Grant is Randall. So Randall's been having a few issues with his connectivity tonight. We're going to try and make it happen. And maybe he can just be there for his good looks, seeing how his picture froze with the thumb up. Good job. Anyways, Scott and Randall, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves? Maybe, Scott, you'll have to introduce Randall for him. But,
I get to say what I want, right?
Yeah, there you go.
I'm Scott, part of S&R Motoring. It's my channel, obviously, and we've been doing it for about 4 years now. Known Randall since fourth grade. So what is that, like 9 years old?
8.
8?
8 or 9.
Yeah.
8.
Yeah, one of them. So yeah, we became best friends because he had a sweet rat tail in fourth grade, and yeah, I immediately knew that he was going to be my best friend because of that rat tail.
The rat tail is only second to the mullet. I'm just saying.
Different eras, Jason. Different eras.
So yeah, we yeah, we don't know what you're saying. Sorry. So yeah, we started hanging out. Really, we started hanging. We were inseparable around like 15 or so when we started playing music and whatnot. And then we got in the cars, and one day I decided to tear my Conquest apart, and I was like, "Hey, Randall, you want to start a YouTube channel?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." And that's pretty much it.
So yeah, you said things really ratcheted up at circa age 15, so that's learner permit time. Yeah. And you said that naturally kind of progressed into the car scene. And I think what's interesting, this is a little bit different for most guests here on the CarrGuy and SIXFAN show. We're kind of focused on the domestic car scene, but so it's nice to have you guys have changed the pace a little bit, a little more the JDM kind of style. But Scott, of course, you have a Chrysler Conquest, so you sort of bridge that gap between domestic and import. But so you guys get started around age 15. So were these the cars that you started the channel with building? Were these your high school cars?
The Conquest I had right after high school, like right after I graduated, I got it. So yeah, pretty much. I had it when I was like 19. And then, I was working on it and whatnot, and my parents didn't think it was reliable enough to take to college, so I had to get something else.
And they were probably right.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
So when I first kind of caught you guys, as your channel was growing, it was back when you were both kind of building the motors for these cars. What led you to that, and where did the experience come from to be able to do it?
What led us to that? Pure stupidity. No, I've always wanted to build a motor. I never have. So I found myself at the point in life where I could do that. And just dived in. I've never built a motor, never tore one apart. So this was my first one. I didn't have any experience doing it or anything like that.
Well, it looks like we lost Randall there for a second, and he's coming back in. But so I know Randall had he has a first generation, or maybe I'm misspeaking, Supra. I guess I don't know the third. Wow. Okay. So that's why I prefaced it that way. Self-admittedly, I don't know what the styles are any further
First
back.
to me, I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah. Any further back than that, but the glorious since I am straight six fan, he's got the old 7M GTE that he rebuilt. So Scott, and what's unique about your guys' channels, you at least in those early days, you were bouncing back and forth every other week. It was you switched garages and you guys would help each other out, and there's some crossover, like you learning how to do bearings and stuff. You guys were kind of in similar stages there for a while. What would you say is the biggest I guess learning moment from rebuilding motors from either of your two cars?
Do your research. Make sure you got everything right to start with before you start tearing everything apart. Also, make sure everything is labeled. Just if you do that, you're going to save yourself a ton of headache. So yeah, I obviously didn't do any of that, and still don't. And it's just sometimes it's pretty hard to figure out what goes where sometimes. But it's like Legos; they can only go one way most of the time. So.
well, and that's part of the benefit of the experience is learning, right? It's
Oh yeah, definitely.
I do. If I recall correctly, I can't remember if it was your engine or Randall's where you were putting the crank in. You were finally getting to the point of putting the crank in. You got the main caps on, and it wouldn't spin.
Oh yeah, that was mine. That was interesting. So that the bearings were actually mislabeled. They were stamped wrong, so they were a thicker size. So yeah, they were so thick it wouldn't even spin the crank. So that was the manufacturer default. That wasn't really my fault, I guess. But
it's all part of the experience, right? Like we
definitely.
talk about learning and doing your research and stuff like that. You can do all the research you want, and sometimes just out of the box you get the wrong part or the wrong labeled or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that is how we learn. I mean, we're constantly learning every day, whether it's in your business or your life or cars or whatever it happens to be. And that's kind of one of the reasons why doing it on a YouTube channel does a couple of things. One is it gives you confidence to get out and do it, gives you motivation to build something. It allows the whole world to see you screw up. But at the end of the day, it does give you a video recollection of the history and what you're doing and how you're building, right? Like
definitely.
And that's the fun part of it, and being able to put it on YouTube.
Yeah. And what you just said is like sometimes it is a very good reference. Like if I forget how I did something, I can just go back and watch my own video and say, "Oh yeah, that's right."
And then when you're forced to watch your own video, then you realize like come on, guy, get to the point. Like go on.
Skip, fast forward. Yeah.
So it helps you become a better producer, I guess.
Yeah. And exactly. Sometimes you look at it and it's like, did I really say that? Why did I let that in the video? But,
yeah, and it's a struggle. I mean, that's why we do what we do here on the CarrGuy and SIXFAN show, is just to kind of give some insight as to the struggles, the ups and the downs that we all go through, whether it be poor Randall's internet connection always looking like a mugshot comes up every time we add him to the live stream.
You never know how he's going to pop up.
Yes. Well, Scott, I want to talk a little bit about the Conquest, and is Plymouth the Starion? Which one? Who makes the Starion?
Mitsubishi.
Okay.
Yeah, it all started with old Mitsubishi, and Chrysler. The whole before like DSM. Do you know what DSM is? Diamond Star Motors, Eagle, Plymouth, and Mitsubishi. Yeah. Before that started, they just got together and they wanted a two-door sports car, so they got together with Mitsubishi and just rebadged it, basically.
Well, Randall, real quick, while we have good internet connection, we'll get a question and send your way. We were starting to talk about giving you a chance to talk about the Supra build, and I'll ask the same question I asked to Scott. What what would you say was maybe your biggest like learning moment from rebuilding a motor for the, I assume first time, but just through the Supra rebuild?
That was actually the second rebuild, but great. But the one we filmed made me realize how much I screwed up in the first one.
So we did ask Scott how he came about his conquest. And again, now that we've got some internet connection for you, hopefully you can answer to us how you came about your Supra.
That's a good one.
I had a 92 Civic hatchback that I was going to put a B18B in, and the good old LS swap. And I was having problems finding a manual transmission for it, because at that time everyone wanted the LS transmission. So I was kind of getting frustrated because the car was born in automatic, so it made it even easier. And on a used car lot near my house, there was a 89 Supra with a screwed up front bumper. So I went and offered the guy $800, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll sell it to you." So I sold my LS to buy a Supra.
Yeah, that was his first Supra.
Well, since we're pretty anti LS swap the world here on the CarRGuy and SIXFAN show. So that's I love that story that an LS actually bought you a whole nother car in its entirety. That's pretty awesome.
Not the LS that you're thinking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They used to call the B18 is an LS.
B18B.
Yeah, B18B is they call it an LS. LSV.
Yeah.
Revisionist history. I'm still gonna in my head just still tell the story that way though.
Okay. that works.
But that is true. You did say the BST stuff before the LS, and I was like, man, I'm not quite connecting dots here. Now I realize, yes, because I'm. Yeah.
I think that is it because Randall, was it because the Acura was like the LS model? Is that why they call it the LS?
Yeah, it was that.
Okay.
Yep.
Like the trim model was the LS, yeah.
So you guys have been together doing your thing since you were, Randall says 8 and Scott says 9, but semantics. When you guys got to the age of driving, were you ever the type of kids that were out doing shenanigans? Did you have a car that you just kind of beat the hell out of and got in trouble with? And tell us a story.
Many stories. Randall did have, before like we really got into cars, Randall had a Chevy Nova, not the cool one that you're thinking about, but like the small one. Yeah, exactly. And we took that thing everywhere. It was our
84 Chevy Nova, the front wheel drive.
He could probably tell you the story better.
A disgrace to the name
of off-roading in it. Go for it, Randall.
There used to be a dirt road. It's paved now, but there was a dirt road in Myrtle Beach, which is non-existent. And there was a nice little hill over a bridge. The only hill in Myrtle Beach. Yeah, the only hill in Myrtle Beach. It's gone now. It's all flat. And we would try to jump it repeatedly. And I think we successfully ripped the exhaust off, and I broke the intake rocker arm on it.
It was a good time.
I had a friend in high school. He had a probably 84-ish Chevy full-size van. I think may have even been like the 3/4 ton version, like a C20 or whatever. Yeah. And he loved to take that thing, and he would hit all the dips in the residential area as fast as he possibly could. And so you'd always be following him, and you see his shock absorbers, the mounts under the axle bottom out and throw sparks. And I think he also drove it straight through a snowman before too. So I love the high school stories like that.
Yeah, definitely. We used to have a thing every Wednesday night. We would call it Quest Night, and we would have to go on a certain quest every night. and a lot of times they involve the toilet bowl cleaner bombs, works bombs, toilet bowl cleaner, and aluminum foil. Yeah, I'll just leave that as that and not say anything else about it.
Yeah, you'll make me have to check an extra box on the YouTube back end for advertising if you go into more there.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, we can talk about our shenanigans, but you got to leave the name brands out.
Can't name drop. All right. My bad.
Well, we may have lost Randall one more time, but if you guys are just now joining us, who we have on tonight is Scott and Randall. Of course, they would be the namesake of S&R Motoring. You can find them here on YouTube, so definitely go check their channel out when you get a chance. There is a link in the description below to their channel. And then just a quick reminder that much like Season 5 on the CarrGuy and SIXFAN show, Jason and I will be keeping track of the super chats and kind of keeping inventory of that throughout the season and doing very similar things to what we did there in Season 5 as well. But so Randall's found his way back in. Jason, I got my plug in there. I'll let you hand over to you to ask the next question.
Yeah, before we get there, I just want to make note, one thing we did not do because of some of the confusion when we first started was we didn't go through the list of people who are in the chat tonight. And it looks like we got a pretty good crowd. There's about 20 of yous in there. Roy Marco's Garage, Country Boy Gas Customs, King Eric, the greatest of all, is in there. 66 Nova, as well as Will R. Dudes with Wrenches, Paul Speed Shop, Mr. Mach 1 is in there as well. Build One More is I think might be a new name to the channel. And let's see, Grimm's Auto Service, CP Tool Addict, and the list goes on. Haggard Hot Rods. Thanks, guys, for joining us on this Thursday evening with Scott and sometimes Randall. So as we continue on, we want to talk a little bit about your YouTube channel, and I know that you guys had kind of just you touched briefly on the fact that you started it to kind of record the quest or the journey of building your cars. But at what point did you realize that you had something that you wanted to keep going with it? Or have you figured it out yet?
No, not really. I don't know. I think there was a video I put out. It was like an informational video about the Mitsubishi Starion, and that one started to gain traction. So at that point, I was like, well, maybe I should continue with this and take it more seriously. That video is our highest viewed video to date. I think it's over 22,000 views or something like that. So yeah, once that started gaining traction, we kind of hunkered down and started putting out more videos. We were trying to get one out at least once a week.
Well, I know one of the things that attracted me to your guys' channel from the early on stage, and I always joke with YouTube, sometimes it's like I kind of call it like the graduating class of fill in the blank. Like you feel like you kind of come up through the ranks with certain other channels at the same time. And I think, when Adpocalypse 2018, 2019 happened, and we all were under 1,000 subscribers.
Oh yeah.
I feel like that's how that's how Jason and I connected, and I feel like that's when we found S&R Motoring at a very similar time. But what attracted me to your channel was the fact that I don't have kids, unfortunately, at this point in my life, but it was like what my channel was supposed to all be about was like I had made all the excuses throughout all my life as to why not to do a project car, and I finally got to a point in my life where there's no more excuses. Yeah. And so what I loved about watching your guys' channel was, that's a pretty common excuse. Like, I can't. Where am I going to find the time with kids and everything? So you guys literally just like
early in the morning
punish ourselves and wake up before everybody on Sunday mornings and go wrench. And I just like, no, look, these guys are living it. They're proof. So tell us about the insanity and maybe the early wake up calls and all that stuff of filming early Sunday morning.
It didn't start out like that. We would. Like when we first started, we would just like maybe do a video maybe once a month, and it would be at normal time, like 10, 11 o'clock in the morning till whenever. But then, I started thinking like, I'm doing this to hopefully, and I say hopefully, one day spend more time with the kids that are running around upstairs right now. So I didn't want the channel to affect any time spent with them. So that's basically why we, started film. We used to get up at like 5:30 in the morning and meet up around 6, and we kind of still do. I think it's pushed back to like 6:30 right now. But like I said, I didn't want the channel to affect any time of my children, because I only get to see them really on weekends. Like I get to see them maybe 3 hours a night. I actually did the math. It's like I only get to see them 135 or 136 days out of the whole year, judging by hours. So yeah, so that's why we started doing the 5:30 in the morning thing. Hence the when we did our podcast super early morning show, because we were the only idiots up at that morning hour doing a podcast.
So you guys have been part of the YouTube community at least as long as I have. I think that I started in January of 2018. I'm not sure exactly when you guys started, but must have been pretty handy to that, because I found you about the same time. And one thing that we sometimes like to ask our guests is there something that you guys found success in, that something that works for you, something that works for S&R Motoring, that tends to let you continue on and kind of drives you to go? And if so, what is it that you could share with somebody else who's doing the same thing that we are, that might help get them motivated?
Yeah, the thing that really keeps me going is the support from like the Stereo Conquest community and the support from the super community. Like whenever we run into a problem or anything like that, it's just like an overwhelming amount of help. So it's just like, yeah, that's basically it, really. Just I find, I don't know, not comfort, but it just helps me keep going, just knowing that there's people out there willing to help, whenever we're stuck on something.
And to tie into that, that is one thing that that we always talk about when we're looking for these tips or tricks that we're trying to forward to some up and comers, is get yourself connected, put yourself out there into the groups that you frequent or that you're interested in. Yeah. If you've got an LS swap something or other, go find that channel. If you've got a Conquest or a Starion or a Fairmont or a Supra, whatever, go find those groups on Facebook or on Instagram and get to know people, get to know some of those folks that you can lean on when the information is needed.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I find for myself, like the motivation, like it's almost reverse. Like knowing that it's better to have regular YouTube content. It like there's definitely some weekends where I'm really not in the mood to go out and wrench in my garage.
Oh yeah.
But it like keeps me accountable to the project card, knowing like I need to put some content out this week. And so it's kind of a good like checks and balances system, a little bit of accountability I've found with YouTube. Randall, while we have a moment of connectivity with you, so we'll ask kind of a similar question. Lessons learned over your career of YouTube here. What's something you would share to the next person as something maybe you wished you would have known sooner?
Really what you said before, just get involved with the community. Like there's no way the Super would be, well, it's in pieces, but nowhere near what it is without like information, getting parts, annoying people, just without having that team, it wouldn't be in play.
Yeah.
Jason, you were unmuted and then you muted yourself. So there you go. So we're 2 for 2 here in season 6.
I was thinking that I had to hit that button. I just didn't realize which setting I was on. Okay, let's try this again like we're professionals. So we're coming up upon 25 minutes here, and we just want to kind of let everybody know who is watching this after the fact of some of the things that are coming up in your next video or other projects that might be happening. So is there something you guys might want to share with people that are watching that's coming up in an upcoming episode?
It's all secret.
Come on now.
No.
You got to tease us with something.
We don't really know what we're doing until the night before we film. So, but yeah, I do have a new car. I don't know if you saw that. I got recently acquired a 2000 Mustang GT. And it's a car. But so yeah, there's going to be a bunch of videos coming up on that. We just finished putting back in the 7M into the Supra. So we got to finish hooking everything back up with that, and that's going to have its first or second start here coming up shortly. And then the Conquest, I ripped out all the wiring, so I'm getting ready to put in a standalone. So yeah, that should be coming up pretty soon, shortly. Also, we were thinking about, since his dad is real big into Mustangs, I have the two valve. His dad has a 4-valve, and his mom actually has a 3-valve. So we were thinking about doing like a Mustang challenge. So that should be pretty interesting. But the only downside to that is our local racetrack is about 2.5 hours away. So we got to figure out when we could possibly do that. But yeah, should have a lot of stuff coming up here pretty soon.
Well, it's weird, like with geography, I'm not the best, but it's like, it almost seems like Mexico, you have to like drive through Mexico to get to the local racetrack, maybe somewhere within those 2 hours.
Yeah, true.
You'd be surprised how close Canada and South Carolina are to Mexico. It's like just that.
Really,
within centimeters.
It's the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
Well, Scott, talk about the new Edge Mustang a little bit, because it's got an interesting story. You know, we piggybacked, or I don't know, 3-4 questions back, you were talking about how you calculated, like, really it's only a third of the year you get time to spend with your children. So why don't you tell the viewers, so maybe now that you have a little different captive audience here, like why the new Edge Mustang came to be.
So my son, he's 6, and he's had this American Muscle Car book. It's got Chrysler, it's got Mopar, Ford, and Chevy in it, of all the muscle cars they've ever built. And he has looked at that book, no lie, every day since he was 2. So I had a 2006 Yukon, and I have probably about 30-minute drive to work every day. So I know what you're thinking in your head, but we were trying to get me something that was better on gas, and then somehow I ended up with a Mustang. But the reason why I got the Mustang is because he's got 2 favorite cars, the Challenger and the Ford Mustang. So I ended up with the Mustang because that's something that I could afford. And I didn't post it, but you should have seen his face the first morning that he saw it. It was just, it made it all worthwhile, basically. So yeah, I got it to basically, oh yeah, there's our video right there. But I got it basically something for me and him to, tinker with and work on together.
All right. Well, I got too many things going on here at once, and I got some back feeding in my headset. But Grant, we know that you're finally getting to drive the Fairmont now, and I see some Instagram pics where you've been back and forth to work. Do you have anything in the works for an upcoming video that you could share with us?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, actually, I did document the drive to work because I did one of those videos probably 2 years ago before it had I swapped out the rear ends and stuff. So that's for cheap content's sake. You'll see that tomorrow coming up. But I think this weekend I'm either going to do one of two things. I did finally buy an air fuel ratio gauge for the Fairmont, so we can it's probably running too rich. Get that carb set a little bit better so it doesn't just smell like raw gasoline in the garage all the time. So that or upgrading the intercooler on the wife's EcoBoost Mustang. So one of those two things will happen this weekend.
EcoBoost.
Well, that's pretty. EcoBoost Mustang.
Yeah.
EcoBoost could go well in a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Not just
like
Mustangs. What? Oh, I don't know. Yugos. I don't know. Just throwing that out there. But anyway, some upcoming things on Old CarrGuy. I did do a stereo upgrade in the square body and Dale truck. So that is a video that's coming up on the regular schedule for Friday. But I also got to do a test drive today on the new 2021 Bronco. Not the little one either, the full-size one. And so that video is dropping in the middle of the night tonight, depending on where you are. So 2 videos for the price of one this week, and hopefully the Bronco one gets a little bit of traction. But anyways, that's up and coming on Old CarrGuy.
Sweet.
So where do we go from here, Grant? I think what are we doing?
Randall needs motivation to work on the Supra. He's lost all motivation. We need to help him.
Okay, guys. So if you're in the chat right now, we want you to type Randall get to work. Hopefully, we can get some motivation for Randall to get back on that Supra and get that thing on the road and driving.
Yeah.
He also responds well to things like 73 millimeter turbo. So just like really just get ridiculous with the. He's already upgraded the turbo once. Why not a second time?
I think we're on the third time, actually.
I do have a 45 waiting.
Oh, yeah. GT45. That's a big one.
Well, this is probably a good time to open up to the chat. Any questions you guys might have for Scott or for Randall about their channel, and maybe it's about the dynamic of, hey, what's it like to have a channel with? Well, I'll just ask the question: what's the dynamic like having a channel? Not just a singular person, but because you do swap back and forth as much as you possibly can. What's that dynamic like having to put out content for kind of almost two personalities?
It actually helps, because if we don't really have anything to do with one car, we all usually have something to do with the other. And now that we have 3, we have no excuse to just pour out content.
Anything you want to add to that, Randall?
It'll probably cut out anyway, so.
Good excuse. So there is some people in the comments saying that it's time for Randall to get going. Work is needed. Let's see. I guess maybe Grant can flash a few of those up on the screen. Just as a little bit of motivation for him. Maybe there you go. Randall, get to work.
I guess I couldn't say anything either, because this has been sitting here untouched for weeks.
Well, that's part of the problem is, you get too many projects on the go, and something always takes a side note along the way. My Chrysler Cordoba hasn't been part of my channel for a long time, many, many months. And it's sitting down at my dad's right now outside in the elements, just because I don't have a shop, and that's something that we're going to get going here pretty quick. But it is easy to fall into that rut of, you know what, I didn't do anything today, and I'm probably not going to do anything tomorrow.
Yeah.
And sometimes we do need that motivation, and sometimes the motivation simply is, we're all joking aside, is friends giving that friendly nudge to say, you know what, let's get back to work on it.
No, I'm not doing that. No.
What? Okay. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, I'm gathering from the chat. I mean, I'm guessing Build One More is one of your loyal followers, S&R. Yeah. So it's probably I'm sure that's probably not the first time he's made that recommendation. I would
probably
not.
Guess. No, he's a good guy. That's his channel as well. So if you go check him out too, just a selfless plug for him.
So let me ask
Uh-oh.
about the gorilla costume.
Gorilla costume.
Is it a gorilla? Is it a Sasquatch?
Chewbacca.
Oh, there you go, Chewbacca. So tell us a little bit about Chewbacca.
Not much to say, really. I dressed up as him for Halloween one year and scared all the kids. And we used to. This is something that we really need to get back into. Every week we'd have some random intro. We kind of fell off on that too, but it was completely random. It just said, "Hey, I'll dress up like Chewbacca," and we just kind of came up with it at 5:30 in the morning, and that's it. We're probably the most random people, like random thought process that you'll ever meet. Like,
yeah, I did enjoy that as well. It reminded me of, Dirt Every Day. They have like a pink Sasquatch that always bombs some scene somewhere along the way on Motor Trend on Demand there.
Randall also dressed up as Batman one time. That was pretty funny. I forget what video that was, but that was quite hilarious. We used to do infomercials too.
That's in the intro.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it is.
Infomercials are fun.
Yeah. We were thinking about doing like a telethon, like an old school telethon, but I don't know where to get regular dial phone, like
rotary dials.
Yeah, rotary dial phones. So.
That would actually be pretty good. Jason and I have tossed around the idea, while we do take note of all the super chats that come in. It's been fairly successful for us as the CarrGuy and SIXFAN show gets, older and older in each iteration. But to do something like akin to a telethon, just a really long live stream to raise some money there's some other creators out there really struggling with like some health issues and things. And so just, that automotive community opportunity to give back. But yeah, man, if we could ham it up with some rotary dial phones and maybe some plaid leisure suits, like
get some celebrities lookalikes.
I bet you could even get Igor on the channel there to help you out with that one.
The trick would be having a producer to bleep him out, with the 2-second delay dump button.
Yeah, he's got such a potty mouth. Oh, my soul. Oh,
but he's family, so I mean, just put up with him.
Can't pick your family.
Just like,
well, it looks like we're. It looks like we're getting close to the end of the show here, Grant. Is there any final words that you have for Scott and the non-existent Randall?
There he is.
Non-existent now until I add him back to the show. I get to choose when he comes and goes. No. Well, we appreciate you guys carving some time out of your Thursday night to join us. And, while maybe... Ideally, in an ideal world, we would have better interconnections, but we enjoyed sharing the time with you guys. And we, like I said, I always kind of go back to that graduating class of, and there's, our mutual friend Ryan over at Boost Rodeo too. I think somewhere along the way, that's maybe how we stumbled upon you guys. But it's just been a real pleasure to kind of grow up with you guys, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. For sure. Like I appreciate you guys so much, because a lot of our growth actually came from the CarRGuy and SIXFAN show. Just everybody, networking and whatnot and subbing to each other. That really helped us out a lot. So I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, well, and that's good, and it's good to get that feedback because the CarRGuy and SIXFAN show. That's exactly how, and the reason why we started was to get ourselves to 1,000 subscribers, but to help others get there too by having a common place where everybody could get together.
Exactly.
And having said that, guys, if you're in the chat tonight and you're not subscribed to S&R Motoring, please go ahead and do so. And if you can find some other guys who are in the channel or in the chat, a lot of these guys have channels as well. Go help them out. Check out their content. If you like it, go ahead and give them a subscribe, because that's what we're all about, is growth and making sure that everybody has an opportunity. I think that's everything that I've got to say. Grant, anything else that we didn't mention that we should, besides thanking these guys?
Just kind of the inverse of what you just said. If you're new to the CarRGuy and SIXFAN show and you're not subscribed to, well, I'm going to say Jason, because the whole purpose behind the CarRGuy and SIXFAN show is because it's a joint venture. We alternate every other week as to who hosts. So 7 p.m. Central next week, CarRGuy and SIXFAN show season 6 episode 3 is over on Jason's channel, Old CarRGuy, here on YouTube. So go check him out and make sure you're subscribed to him as well.
Do it.
And just do it. No other question. Just do it because Scott said so.
That's right.
Well, I think it's about time that we kind of close this thing out, guys. If you don't know, Grant just said that we are on my channel next week, and we do have guests again, and it is the gentleman from Get Out and Drive. And if you don't know who they are on Instagram. You can go check them out. They do a podcast, and they have a pretty good time over there. We've invited them. Maybe sometime they'll invite us over to their show. But nevertheless, I hope you tune in next week on my channel. And having said all that, we appreciate everyone taking the time out of their Thursday evening to be with us as we host, not Grant and Randall, Scott and Randall. And I thank you too, Grant, for being a part of the CarRGuy and SIXFAN show. Anyway, thanks, guys. We'll see you next week over on my channel. Thanks for being here. Stay focused on the windshield, not the rearview mirror.
Peace.